Hi and welcome to Monday Maths. So today we are continuing with our learning of converting measures, and this time we're going to be looking at measures that we use to measure length and distance. So we've got, let's start off with the littlest one, millimetres, centimetres, metres and kilometres. These are all measures that we've used in school, and these are bigger measures but ones that we have talked about. So just like we had yesterday with our weight measures, this one is for lengths, for distances, and we've got our conversions again today. So I know that lots of you kind of copied this down into your answer booklet or had this next to them while you were doing your work to refer to. I know that when we were doing our Zoom meetings we had this to refer to look back on. So it's really important, and this time it's kind of getting a bit trickier because we've got more conversions that we can be doing between these different ways of measuring length. So we want to have different measures because we're going to be measuring different distances. So millimetres are for measuring really tiny lengths, and we wouldn't want to use millimetres to measure like the journey to school because that would just be too big. That measure is just too small, so and the number would be too big. So we want to be using kilometres. So we need to have different units of measure for different purposes. Right, so seeing if you can remember these conversions today. If not, have this next to you, have this open so that you can refer to it. So centimetres to millimetres, you've got to multiply by 10, and the inverse for going from millimetres to centimetres. Metres to centimetres, you're timesing by 100, and the inverse. Kilometres to metres, you're multiplying by 1,000, and the inverse is there as well. Right, let's have a look at how this works. So if you've got a ruler at home, it might be worth just getting this out and just having a look at this so we know the size of the units. So here we've got a centimetre. And as you can see, each of the centimetres is divided into 10 equal intervals. So each one of those tiny little intervals, tiny little gaps, is 1 millimetre. So just have a look on a ruler if you have one, just so you're kind of getting your head around the different measures and the size that they are as well. Okay, so this is the start of your work today. Got questions 1, 2 and 3. It does get trickier as you go. This first bit, you are just converting between millimetres and centimetres. So let's have a go at a couple of these. So I've got here, this might be top tips for you today. Having this here to refer to is really important. Also having a place value grid as well. I was talking to some of you yesterday about adding on zeros and taking away zeros. And we've talked about that before, haven't we? Where yes, that does sometimes work, but it doesn't always work. The way that will always work will be to be moving the digits. If you get decimal numbers, adding zeros and taking away zeros won't work. So it does work in some cases, but make sure that you know how to do it in a way that works for all of them, which is using a place value grid and moving our digits. So for this first one is 6 centimetres, and we're converting 6 centimetres to millimetres. So what is 6 centimetres if we're going to give it in millimetres? So let's have a look at our chart. We're going from centimetres to millimetres. So centimetres to millimetres is multiplying by 10. If we can't remember, multiplying by 10, the digits move to the left 1 space. So there's my 6 centimetres. I've got to move that digit 1 place to the left. There we go. And don't forget, if you've got any spaces before the decimal point, you need to fill it with a 0. It's a placeholder. So 6 centimetres equals 60 millimetres. Okay. Let's try the next one. So this time we're going from millimetres and we're converting to centimetres. So have a look on this chart. If we're going from millimetres to centimetres, look at this arrow here, millimetres to centimetres. Use the arrow. We're dividing by 10 this time. So if we're dividing by 10, we've got to move the digits 1 place to the right. So they've got to all move 1 place to the right. There we are. So 50 millimetres is the same as 5 centimetres. So can you see how having this there having this to refer to is a really good way of making sure you're thinking through it correctly. Okay, now the next question is a bit trickier because you are going between centimetres and metres to do your conversions. So this time we're going from centimetres to metres. Exactly the same strategy, so use this again, use your place value grid and see which ones you can match. So if you're looking at 40 centimetres, you might need to convert that to centimetres, see what that is. Okay, work through elimination here as well. Remember, you're going to have the same digits. The digits aren't going to change. They're just going to move to a different place on that place value grid. So bearing that in mind should help you too. Right, and the next one is trickier again because this time you've got millimetres, you've got centimetres, you've got metres, and you've got kilometres. Okay, so this is a really lovely challenge, and there's just an awful lot of 7 digits there as well. Okay, so do it by elimination. Have a look if you do the easier ones first. So if you know that 7 centimetres is the same as 70 millimetres, do that one first, and then it will help you to work it out. So you will need to convert. You can take each of these, convert them to the different units, and see if you've got an answer there that matches. This is a really lovely test of how well you've understood and can use this conversion. Okay, and finally for today as well, you've got this table that you need to convert between. Okay, so the ones that are grey you don't need to do. So for this one, 0.04 metres, you need to write that in centimetres and in millimetres. Okay, so using that conversion chart again to help you with this one. Seeing some decimals here will make you understand as well about how the adding and taking away zeros won't necessarily work. So use that place value grid again. I know some of you were doing that really well yesterday, so well done. Right, good luck with that. If you've got any questions or if you're not sure, then get them ready for the Zoom session later on today.